Every 40 seconds, somewhere on this planet, someone has a stroke. By the time you finish this sentence, another brain has been hit. Every year, stroke kills almost 6 million. It ranks as the second leading cause of death and is the #1 reason people end up with permanent, life-altering disability. Clearly enough, in a huge number of cases, the brain gives you very specific warnings, hours or even days before the big stroke hits. You just have to know what they look like.
Most people think a stroke is a sudden explosion out of nowhere. You were fine, you fell, you woke up in the hospital. But in reality, a stroke is usually the predictable endpoint of blood vessels that have been degrading for years. And if something is predictable, it is at least partly preventable. To understand why every single minute matters, you need to feel just how demanding your brain actually is. Your brain weighs roughly 1.4 kilograms. That is only about 2% of your body weight. Yet it uses 20% of the oxygen you breathe and 25% of all the glucose circulating in your blood. It is a control center that never turns off. It needs a constant, uninterrupted fuel line. Cut that fuel for even a few minutes, and cells start dying in ways you cannot reverse. That is why doctors say stroke is a race against time. It is literally a race to save brain tissue before it is gone for good. For a brain artery to suddenly block, the groundwork usually took years. The walls of the vessel have been damaged. Cholesterol and clots have been building up. The opening has been getting tighter and tighter. Along that road, your body usually sends out warning signals. In medicine, we call these early warning shots a transient ischemic attack, or TIA. Transient just means temporary. It comes and it goes. Picture a clogged artery in your neck, the main highway carrying blood from your heart to your brain. Over years, a fatty plaque forms. The opening narrows. Then the tight vessel goes into a brief spasm. Blood flow stops for a few seconds. The brain area fed by that artery blacks out. You feel a stroke symptom. Then the spasm relaxes. Blood flow returns. The symptom fades. And you think you're fine again. But research shows that a TA very often comes right before a major stroke, typically within the next 72 hours. Those 3 days are your window, where the disaster can still be prevented. Here are the 5 big red flags. Number 1. Temporary blindness in one eye. You get up, walk toward the kitchen, and suddenly one eye goes dark. Or foggy. Like someone pulled down a black curtain over that eye, or smeared the lens with gray mud. You blink a few times. Within seconds, your vision comes back. So, you blame it on standing up too fast. In reality, that curtain is almost always a tiny clot or a small fragment of plaque that broke off from your carotid artery. It traveled up and briefly plugged the tiny artery that feeds your eye. When that clot wedges in, the retina loses its blood supply. You see darkness. When the clot drifts away, vision returns. And you feel lucky. But you were lucky because that exact same clot could have gone 2 millimeters to the side, into a brain artery. And then, instead of a 1-minute blackout, you are looking at permanent paralysis. Doctors have a classic Latin name for this. Amaurosis fugax. Fleeting blindness. Neurologists treat that phrase like a fire alarm. Number 2. Sudden numbness on one side of your body. Think of it as your skin acting drunk. It can be the whole arm, just the hand, half the face, or one full side of the body. It feels like pins and needles, like cotton, or like that body part has turned into rubber. The key detail is that it comes out of nowhere. You are just sitting, walking, or talking. It lasts a few minutes, then goes away. Now, you have probably slept on your arm before, where nerve compression causes numbness that clears up when you move. That is different. With a TIA, the problem is not in the arm. It is in the brain area that maps sensation from that arm. Remember, stroke symptoms are usually one-sided, because each brain hemisphere controls the opposite side of your body. If both hands go numb evenly, that points to a neck or spine issue. But sudden, one-sided numbness is a massive red flag. Number 3. A sudden loss of coordination. People describe this as a drunk walk, without any alcohol. You are on a flat, familiar surface, and out of nowhere, your foot lands in the wrong place. You stagger into the wall. Or you get hit by a sudden, violent spinning sensation, making you grab a chair, even though you didn't jerk your head. The part of your brain that keeps you balanced is the cerebellum. It sits low in the back of your skull. It constantly calculates where your body is in space. It gets its blood from the vertebrobasilar system, arteries running up the back of your neck. If blood flow in those arteries drops sharply, the cerebellum glitches. You veer sideways. You misstep. People write this off as, "I was just tired," or "it must be my blood pressure." But spontaneous, intense dizziness, plus trouble walking straight, must be treated as a possible TA. Number 4. Sudden speech breakdown. Let me be clear. If you occasionally forget the word for toothbrush, that is normal. That is a tip-of-the-tongue moment. What worries neurologists is when your speech suddenly breaks down so badly that even you feel something is seriously wrong. There are 2 main speech areas in the brain. Broca's area helps you form words. When it loses blood flow, you know what you want to say, but the words come out slurred, chopped, or stuck. The other is Wernicke's area. It helps you understand speech. When this zone is in trouble, you might speak fluently but say complete nonsense. Word salad. And you won't understand simple phrases directed at you. If speech breaks down suddenly and fades after a few minutes, that is classic TIA. Ignoring it is like your home alarm going off, stopping by itself, and you deciding it was probably nothing. Number 5. A surprising combination. Skin changes plus new headaches. Specifically, vitiligo. Patches of pale or white skin. Vitiligo is an autoimmune process. Your immune system attacks your own pigment cells. When your immune system goes off target, it often doesn't stop at one organ. It can quietly inflame the inner lining of your blood vessels. That lining is called the endothelium. Think of it like the non-stick coating on a pan. When it is healthy, blood glides by. When it is inflamed and scarred, cholesterol and platelets start to cling. Vitiligo alone doesn't doom you. But if you have it and you develop frequent, unusually intense headaches, that combination deserves a proper vascular workup.
Now let's talk about what really wrecks your blood vessels from the inside, because this is where the biggest myths live.
Myth number 1. My cholesterol is normal, so I am safe. Stroke risk is not just about what is floating in your blood. It is about the condition of that non-stick endothelial lining. The first major enemy of this lining is chronically high blood sugar. To get sugar into your cells, you need insulin. When your cells become resistant to insulin, you can have plenty of sugar in your blood, while the vessel lining cells are literally starving. Starving cells get damaged. They peel off the inner surface, leaving behind rough, scar-like patches. These rough spots are perfect landing pads for bad cholesterol. This process starts years before anyone officially tells you that you have diabetes. Even mild prediabetes is enough to quietly injure your vessels for a long time. The second enemy, smoking. Cigarette smoke contains thousands of chemicals, but for stroke, the concern is their effect on the blood itself. Smoking causes direct chemical damage to the vessel wall. At the same time, nicotine and carbon monoxide make your blood thicker and stickier. When you put a damaged vessel wall together with thick, sticky blood, you create the perfect storm for a clot. Smokers have roughly 2 to 4 times the risk of an ischemic stroke. Myth number 2, low blood pressure means no stroke risk. Chronically high blood pressure absolutely weakens vessel walls. But an ischemic stroke often happens, not at the peak of blood pressure, but at a relative low point. Picture a brain artery already narrowed by more than half. It's like a water pipe squeezed in the middle. As long as the pressure is high, some water squeezes through. But if the overall pressure falls, the flow drops to almost zero. At night, while you sleep, blood pressure naturally falls by 15 to 20%. If you have a narrowed artery, that nighttime drop can turn a partial blockage into a full stop. That is why some people go to bed feeling fine and wake up with stroke symptoms.
Age plays a role too. Yes, risk rises significantly after 50, but 10 to 15% of strokes happen in people younger than 45. And here is the kicker.
After age 40, plaque buildup and vessel injury tend to run about twice as fast as they did in your 30s. So, what do you do if you have already had even one of those 5 warning episodes? You have roughly 72 hours. The goal is not to panic, but not to waste that window. First, do not be completely alone. Tell a close friend or family member what happened. If a more serious episode hits, and you cannot speak or move, you need someone who can call emergency services. Second, do not drive yourself. Losing vision or arm control at highway speed is life-threatening. Third, check your blood pressure. If the top number is over 180 or the bottom number is over 110, that is a hypertensive crisis. Call emergency services immediately. And finally, a strict rule of stroke medicine. Never start blood-thinning drugs like aspirin on your own. There are two types of stroke: ischemic, where a vessel is blocked, and hemorrhagic, where a vessel is bleeding. If you take aspirin during a bleeding stroke, you can make the bleeding faster and kill the patient more quickly. The only way to tell the difference is with a CT scan in a hospital. While waiting for help, lie down. Keep your body flat, with your legs slightly raised to support circulation. Keep your head neutral, so neck vessels aren't kinked. If 72 hours pass and no new episode happens, that does not mean you are in the clear. It means you were given a second chance. There are 3 evaluations you must ask your doctor about. Test number 1, a carotid duplex ultrasound. This shows both the anatomy of your neck arteries and how blood is flowing. If the artery is narrowed by more than 70%, surgeons may suggest a routine procedure to open it and remove the plaque. It saves tens of thousands of lives every year. Test number 2, the HbA1c blood test. This measures your average blood sugar over 3 months. It catches that dangerous gray zone of prediabetes, where sugar has been high enough to damage vessels, but nobody has labeled it diabetes yet. Test number 3, a Holter monitor. This is a 24-hour heart rhythm recording. It catches hidden episodes of atrial fibrillation. In AFib, the upper chambers of the heart quiver chaotically. Blood swirls, and clots form easily. Those clots can shoot straight to the brain. If AFib is found, specific blood thinners can cut your stroke risk by 60 to 70%. Stroke is not a lightning bolt from a clear sky. It is a predictable event. You now know the big ones: brief blindness in one eye, sudden one-sided numbness, a sudden drunk walk, speech breakdown, and vitiligo combined with new headaches. Any of these, even if they vanish in a minute, is a reason to talk to a doctor urgently. Write your symptoms down. Do not rely on memory.
Use what you learned today to have a real, specific conversation with your doctor. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more video like this